most, driving is just a mundane task between point A and point B. Nothing more. It's the frustration of traffic at 8 a.m., the feeling of sickness on a long ride. The car? Just a tool. It's supposed to be practical, reliable, and fast. But the speed is really the reason cars exist, born out of a necessity to make that A to B trip just a little bit faster. Some have a deeper connection with cars, found somewhere in the bond of man and machine, a desire to be part of something bigger than yourself. It's the extension of mind and body to something more exciting than just another appliance. And these people never cared about practicality or reliability. To them, the only thing that matters is speed. We're born with a competitive nature, part of a biological necessity that has not yet worn off with time. People have raced for thousands of years, and that competition has transcended history and found its way to the industrial age. Railroads raced to build across the country, replacing the horses whose strength is still used as a benchmark for power today. And as personal vehicles became popular, the railroads died off. What once was the quickest way across the country became snail's pace in comparison. The interstate highway system expanded and cars populated every driveway. And the competition between types of transport quickly transitioned into the race to have the fastest car. Bragging rights. Manufacturers like Porsche, Ferrari, and BMW emerged in auto racing, each trying to one-up the other. Building engines became an arms race. Who could build the fastest dinosaur-powered legs? So while the passion for cars has died for most, there are still people that are fascinated by racing. The sights, the sounds, the smell of burning rubber and spent race fuel lingering in the air, this is what attracts us to the sport of auto racing. We are empowered by drivers that climb in impossibly fast cars and put everything on the line for the sake of competition. Drivers who know that one slip-up can lead to disaster. And for the longest time, wishing to be a race car driver was just a childhood dream. All we could ever be was a spectator. Opportunities? Limited and expensive. Reserved only for the who's who of the racing world. Until now.
Makes a mistake again. He missed the shift. He's going to spin to the inside turn. He's going to take the lead.
Eli Hinton just got used up there in the hairpin.
He's going to pick up a win after a long winless streak and visit victory lane. And the whole field just needs to get himself slowed down, hop these curves, up and over. There's Zach Cannon running a tag line. Great restart here for the 2 car, but also for the 48. He crosses him over, down into turn 1, there goes the tail. Here comes the 20 alongside. The 13 car gets a turn. He's going to spin in turn 2.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to SYM TV. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined alongside tonight by Finian DeCuna for the 2019 ELITE JoinAPS Series season finale. We're at Gateway Motorsports Park just outside of St. Louis, and this racetrack is tricky. One end tighter than the other, shifting on throttle, on the brakes. It's just a formidable racetrack for any opponents, but it's the season finale. 4 drivers of the 20 competing in the race tonight are going to have a chance to run for the championship. It's an all-out brawl. The highest finisher of those 4, lit up in bright green on the ticker, they'll be the ones going for the checkered flag and the trophy at the end of the night. And Finian, one thing I know about Gateway Motorsports Park, it's very, very tricky. We saw it outside of Racing League here on Saturday night. and they had quite the evening here. So what do we expect in a field of 20 Xfinity Series cars tonight?
I think we're going to expect some fantastic racing. We both took part in a race on, what was that? That was Friday at Gateway in the Xfinity cars, and that was a fantastic show. A lot of multi-groove action at this track, and I expect a lot of these guys are going to have to pretty much take advantage of that because passing is going to be pretty hard to do.
All right, well, we talked about the track layout. Here's a look at the track map. Just under 1.3 miles, 4 turns here, Finian, but I would consider this track almost like a road course because you're going to see drivers going for third gear mid-corner, especially down into turn number 1. The banking's different on one end of the racetrack versus the other, but it's a very challenging racetrack to get right. Multiple grooves, different lines, but a lot of drivers are going to fight understeer on corner exit and oversteer on corner entry. You know, when we come down to the season finale of any series, Finian, we always bring up the intensity, and we usually go to a racetrack like Homestead, which is wide and has plenty of room for racing. But this racetrack gets really, really narrow, or at least the racing line does. So how did Chad Frankenfield and Tyler Riggs and some of the other drivers that are competing for the championship, how do they keep themselves out of trouble tonight?
I think it's going to require a lot of patience, especially because at this track, you know, you'll see a lot of side-by-side action, a lot of guys trying to go for that high line, and maybe pinching a guy down, but you got to be careful because if you're not careful enough, you can end up making contact, end up hitting the wall, especially you're talking about that understeer and exit. So you got to have a lot of patience, got to know what you're doing. It's 90 laps. It's not a whole lot of time, but you don't want to take yourself out early.
All right, let's take a look at the tower ticker on the left-hand side of your screen. The drivers lit up in bright green, their number and their name. Those are your playoff drivers this evening. The highest finisher on that tower, the one that climbs the highest, is going to be your champion at the end of the race tonight. We see this kind of format all across the board, Finian, but what I love about this is it forces you to be perfect. You cannot make a mistake on pit road. You cannot make a mistake shifting. It's easy to blow your motor here if you're not careful. And best of all, you can't get into contact with anybody or you could see your night abbreviated very, very quickly. We saw that with Eli Hinton as well on the Saturday Night Outsider Racing League race. Was leading the race, got turned out of the lead, and ended up only finishing P5, which basically eliminated his chances at a victory that night. So we can see any of these drivers get themselves into trouble. So we'll see how it goes tonight. Of course, those 4 drivers, Birrell, Riggs, Rucker, and Frankenfield, all currently qualified in the top 10, but Birrell in that 37 has a little bit of work to do. He'll be starting behind his championship contenders.
Yeah, the other competitors, 3 of them in the top 4, Frankenfield, Rucker, and Riggs, 1, 3, 4. And then Birrell is slowly dropping on the order, actually just dropped back down to 8th. So, yeah, like you said, he's going to have a little bit of work to do tonight to get to the front. Still there, but again, has a lot more work to do than the other guys. And remember, winner takes all. There's no extra points. None of that. Highest finisher is going to take it home and probably going to be the winner, especially considering how fast our championship competitors are.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at our track conditions tonight, Finian. It's a beautiful evening out there. Partly cloudy, 77 in the air, 77 on the racetrack. What does that mean? It means the track's going to be grippy and very, very fast. Seeing times in the mid-31s, which is about where we saw them when we competed in the virtual racing league race on Friday night, Finian. You and I both competed in that race, and I crashed. So it's challenging. It's not an easy place, and we're right on board here with Scott Haney through 3 and 4. Those rumble strips, the curves on the inside, those are very slippery, covered in paint, and paint is a lot less grippy than the asphalt that is right next to them. So qualifying complete, Chad Frankenfield and Justin Krzyzewski on the front row, Andrew Rucker, Tyler Riggs in row number 2 for the start of this one. Let's grid them up and get ready to go racing for 90 laps, just under 48 minutes if it goes green all the way to the end, but we know that's challenging to go green all the way to the end at a racetrack as challenging as this. Down to the field here just to get a look. There's Justin Krzyzewski in that outside lane in a Toyota Camry. I believe he might be one of the only... No, there's another one back there. I think that's the...
There's a few.
28. Oh, there is a couple in there. It's hard to find Toyotas in a lot of the different leagues, but some drivers running the Camrys here this evening, mostly dominated by Camaros and Mustangs, though. And thankfully it's not Talladega, so the manufacturer alliances won't matter too much here. As we go through our starting lineup, let's take a look at who is on the front row tonight. It's Chad Frankenfield in that Ford Mustang, the number 15 on the side of that Menards Ford, and then Justin Krzyzewski in the number 4 Toyota Camry. He'll be on the outside. Moving on back to row number 2, Andrew Rucker, in the 64 Ford Mustang, Tyler Riggs in the 26 Chevrolet Camaro. Row number 3, it's going to be Levi Zielinski and Logan Shea in the number 6. And Levi Zielinski, a carryover from the 3-wide racing league. He'll be going racing later tonight. And that will be at Iowa Speedway right here on SYM TV at 9:40 p.m. We'll let the rest of that scroll along the bottom of your screen. And Finian, this is going to be a fun one. I know I just purchased Gateway earlier in the weekend, and man, it's a fun racetrack. It's a great racetrack just to drive all by yourself. So I think everyone's going to have a good time out there, provided that they end up having a decent race as well.
Yeah, I think that's going to be key here as we're getting ready to roll the field off. 21 drivers going to be taking the start here, so decent field. But, I mean, effectively it all comes down to the 4 drivers we're looking at, Frankenfield, Rucker, Riggs, and Birrell. Those are the guys we're going to be watching throughout the night. And at the end of 90 laps, we'll crown a champion.
And I have a name pronunciation correction. It's Ethan Birrell. It's pronunciation on the second part. So, of course, doing this group of drivers for the first time, we're going to probably pronounce some things wrong, so please correct us if you can. As the field rolls off to start their pace lap here, Finian. This is going to be a fun one tonight. We've talked about the track layout again. Let's take one more look at it before we get ready. At the bottom of the screen, that blue mark is the start-finish line. Of course, the tighter end is in turns 1 and 2. We're going to see some shifting down there. Some drivers may choose to shift in turns 3 and 4 as well, especially if they get off the pace and slow. But I think you're going to want to stay in 4th gear for the majority of 3 and 4.
Yeah, and that's usually what we see, guys, especially at night here. These guys have a lot more grip to carry through that corner. Not really need to shift there, but definitely 1 and 2. We're going to see guys shifting, and like you said earlier, don't blow the motor because it's very easy to do.
4 warming up his tires that outside lane. That's Krizaneski out there. Then Andrew Rucker in that Blue Def 64 Mustang. He's starting in row number 2 alongside the 26 of Tyler Riggs. Both those cars also competing. So 3 of our 4 championship 4 contenders in the playoffs starting inside the top 5. Going to be a fun one to watch. Pace car rolling through turns 3 and 4. It's 90 laps here at Gateway Motorsports Park. Of course, Gateway Motorsports Park also sponsoring the season-end prizes as well. We want to thank them and Join APS for sponsoring the series as we come out of turn 4. Green flag flies. We're racing at Gateway.
Yeah, fantastic start for Frankenfield as the 64 is going to try to go on the inside of Konecki and can't get it done. That 4 is going to hold that spot with Big Bottle up for 3rd place.
Everyone just trying to take their time getting in line here early, but it's also a time to pounce. Rucker taking a look to the inside of Tyler Riggs. They started side by side. He's going to try to launch on his door to the inside in turn 3. That got a bit tight there, but he's going to be side by side. Slips up the racetrack right behind him. That's 97 of Zielinski and the Speed Energy sponsor machine. And he's got the 88 of Josh Adams slide up right in front of him. Was a complete lap number 1.
Yeah, Rucker is going to make that pass on the outside where he's going to keep that spot. Riggs going to fall back into 4th. The first few rows sorted out. Woo, I saw Logan Shea a little bit sideways entering 1.
Faster position is the 24, Jeremy Yancey and Peter Heward in the number 8, 13th and 14th. They're side by side. That carbon fiber textured Camry going and launching alongside that iRacing sponsored number 8 Camaro off into turn number 3. Out up front, no change for the lead though. Frankenfield's led the first couple laps. Oh, the 88. That's the inside lane alongside Levi Zielinski. These guys fighting for 5th place. Looks like Adams is going to try to take that spot, but the inside lane's so difficult to make a pass there. But early on fresh tires, he might be able to do it, and he does. He clears that 97 for 5th.
But not quite just yet. Here comes Zielinski back on the inside. He did the exact move before. Moved the 88 out of the line. We'll see what happens this time through.
And it's really, you're going to see drivers throttle up. Look at the 97 mid-corner, tries to get it back on the throttle. It's going to slide up right in front of the 88 out of turn 4. In the wall goes the 97. And contact from the 88 as well. Both those cars received damage in that incident.
Yeah, heavy damage to the nose of Adams as well as Zielinski. And here comes Birrell trying to make up some spots. He's going to be fighting with these guys, almost getting involved as Zielinski.
And right behind, Logan Shea almost got into Zielinski. He's well on the 37 spins.
Around.
And a pileup at the exit of turn 2. They're in the fence hard, no caution. There it is finally. Yellow flag out and one of the championship contenders involved early here at Gateway. And the 6 car, Shea, has a ton of damage on that front nose. The left front tire all bowed in. Not a good start for Birrell.
Yeah, not a good start at all. He's got some pretty good damage as Adams just got loose coming off the corner and into the 37 he went.
There's a look from up above. We'll probably get a better look at it here. Was there contact? No, just gets all out of shape. And then the 37, just an innocent bystander here. But the 97 and the 6, big impact for them as well. And the 88 also has a ton of damage. And so those cars out, at least with severe damage here early in the go. We're right on board with Zielinski as he tried to negotiate his way through the wreck. And it's just everyone going for so much here early in the going and throttling up on corner exit. It's going to be a problem we're going to see all night, but wow, Zielinski pounded that wall pretty hard. And hit that inside concrete. No safer barrier there, and we know the concrete hurts a lot more than the safer does. And will make that car pretty heavily damaged as we see a lot of the drivers on pit lane, but some drivers chose to stay out.
Krasinski is going to stay out. He was in third. And also Ethan Riesener in the 86. He's going to stay out as well. We'll see if these guys do decide to come back down and get some tires, although we didn't really go that long, so...
We'll see what Ethan's rhyme or reasoner is for making that... I had to make that pun, I'm sorry. We'll see what that how that strategy decision works out. This early in the race, you wouldn't think tires would matter, but we saw earlier this weekend, Finian, that fresh tires, even if they're only a couple laps newer, mean a lot. So we're going to see how this pans out. But Frankenfield, Riggs, and Rucker come out 3rd, 4th, and 5th on the racetrack. And we know that at least Frankenfield last week at Charlotte in the 3-wide racing league got involved in a collision on green flag pit stops. So you're never safe, even when you're out front, but especially once you get put out of that lead and you have to restart in traffic, there's always a risk that comes associated with that as well.
Yeah, and Riesener is coming down pit road. Krasinski's going to stay out, so he's going to be out there on Odal tires, about 4 laps old under green, and everyone else with 4 fresh tires in behind him.
I think Krasinski was probably thinking that more drivers would stay out this early in the race. I don't think, in hindsight, he probably would have done this move. He probably should have come down because he'd only be 1 spot back. He would have been still 2nd or 3rd. And he's going to restart first, but we'll probably lose some spots here. We've seen how important tires are. As field rolls through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, especially on the restarts, too, when you're arguably going to need the most grip out of the tires trying to fight for position here. Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if we see Krasinski fighting some loose conditions at the start until the tires warm up.
So first caution after only a couple laps of racing here. We've had 1 lead change. That was the 4. Krasinski staying out under the caution, and he'll obtain the lead after being 2nd or 3rd there on that short green flag run. And this is not a long race, Vinny. 90 laps, pretty short. I think we did 133 in the Outsider Racing League, plus I think we had did we not have overtime on Saturday as well?
We did have overtime.
Yeah, so a little bit more than 133 laps. That's almost 40 laps longer. So about 20 minutes. So this is going to be a relatively short race. About 45 minutes if we're to go green to the end now. So didn't get too far underway and already chipping out of that time allotted for the race. And should conclude by about 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is about an hour and 5 minutes. That's including a couple of yellows, as we're going to probably get the 1 to green right there. And yes, the lights shut off on the pace car. And we'll re-rack them, restack them, double file again. And looks like Tyler Riggs is going to be in a position of strength here. On the inside behind Frankenfield. Krasinski chooses the outside lane. Lane choice important here at Gateway Finian on old tires. You think this is the right call?
It might be, it might not be. Kind of hard to tell. He could be trying to demand more from that car on the outside lane. Might end up hitting the wall. It really just depends on how he takes the corner. If he's going to account for the fact that everyone else behind him has fresher tires.
So some of the damaged cars have not returned to the racetrack. One of those is Joshua Adams. His night is essentially over. Levi Zielinski is still in pit lane. The other drivers that were involved are back out running, albeit with some significant damage. The 37 of Ethan Birrell is currently scored 15th, and we'll keep you updated on his progress as he works through the evening tonight. Going to be restarting lap number 9 of 90. It'll be the 10% mark of this season finale race. Again, the highest finisher of the Championship 4 will get to hoist the trophy at the end of the night. Pace car rolls onto the pit lane again. And green flag back in the air. The 4 Krasinski gets a pretty solid restart with help from Andrew Rucker in that 64.
Yeah, Rucker blew out of a cannon. Fantastic start up there from 4th place. He's going to immediately jump ahead of Frankenfield. He's going to be in the prime position for the championship. He's got 15
contact.
behind.
Whoa, we got more cars almost involved in a collision at the exit of turn 2. A big stack up behind the 94 of Kendall Noah Player. And Birrell is going to somehow get his way through that. Yancey, Clark, and Peter Heward all scattering at the exit. That was just a big stack up there as we got a pedal for 2nd place. And that's the 15 of Frankenfield clearing Rucker almost, not quite. The 64 back to the outside lane. They're going to drag race down the front straight.
Here comes Tyler Riggs also trying to follow Frankenfield through. Rucker on the outside almost makes contact with the 15. Really close quarters here.
These guys are playing for the championship trophy tonight, so they're not going to lay over for each other. Tyler Riggs going to head to the inside of the 64 now as well.
Yeah, Riggs is now going to have a chance at it. Can Rucker defend on that high lane? No, he can't. Rucker just dives in the corner and is able to do it with these fresh tires.
Maybe try a crossover, but you see him get on that curve. That's very, very slippery. We're probably going to see some accidents tonight because of curb strikes, so I'll call them that. On the inside lane, that paint, not as grippy as the asphalt, and if you get a left front tire on that, you will spin yourself around. Let's head back. There's a second pack kind of forming. That's the 21 of Joshua Freeman, and Birrell went from 15th to 8th with all that chaos at the exit of 2 and looking for another spot on Freeman down the back straight.
Yeah, great recovery for him, making up a lot of positions early, especially with that big checkup. So doing a great job doing what he needs to do. Gets past Freeman. Freeman actually checks up. He's going to let a few cars on by on the inside lane.
Doesn't look like Birrell has a lot of damage either, so he might be okay after the cars that were involved with him pretty significantly torn up.
Yeah, he was pretty lucky. He only got a small dent to the right front, but really shouldn't do anything to that car.
Tyler Riggs and Andrew Rucker, they're fighting hard for that third spot.
And also, how about Krasinski doing a great job leading this race? Thought he would have dropped back like a rock, but here he is leading by a pretty decent margin over Frankenfield.
Yeah, he's making us eat our words here. I figured that even on only a couple laps used, those tires wouldn't be very good. Now, that being said, Frankenfield is running quicker, but not by very much. It's only a couple hundredths a lap, so I think that strategy call is working out for the 4. Early in the race, it's worth giving it a try, I think. Whoa, so 64 spinning out of turn 2, sliding down onto the grass, caution out again for the second time. And we saw this be the trouble spot the other night as well. Turn 2. And Rucker, one of the championship contenders as well. So 2 of our 4 contenders have already been involved in issues tonight. Of course, this one, an innocent self-spin at the exit of 2. Here's a look. And this tries to apex late, and you can already see he was already dead sideways through the middle of the corner. And spun down innocently to the inside. No contact. He'll just have to come down and maybe get fresh tires. But he's fighting that car all the way through.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about, just a little bit of patience. These guys, obviously you're in a championship run and you're trying to charge the corner, but especially on that part of the track in turn 2, when you cut to the inside like that, you have so much momentum. Back into the car, just steps out and around you go. And we've seen a lot of wrecks between the 2 races that we both raced in and saw here, so I definitely think we're going to see some more tonight.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, I don't even know. I think Rucker was actually in 4th gear, which is really interesting. Usually, he could have been in 3rd. I'm fairly certain he was in 4th, though. And you'd think that we'd have definitely seen him spin in 3rd gear, because he got a lot more torque, but I guess in 4th gear, he had enough torque to spin the tires and spin himself out. So, different strategies being played again. Now Krasinski hits pit road, so that call did work out, as he's going to have Frankenfield follow him, although some other drivers, Kendall Noah Player and Joshua Freeman, are going to try staying out here just to see what happens. It looks like Levi Zielinski has rejoined the racetrack 8 laps down. So he's got some work to do.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do to try to get back in the lead lap. I don't think he will be able to. Yeah, Freeman's just kind of making up a few spots and trying to finish the season out.
Ooh, okay, a couple more strategy plays here for some of the field.
Oh, yeah, indeed. So Dallas Mahan and Ethan Birrell both, I assume, took 2 tires.
Yes. 9-second pit stops for both those cars. Everyone else took 4. And Ethan Reasoner with a very lengthy pit stop on pit lane. And not exactly sure why. But yeah, so two guys taking 2 tires. I like this call. We saw the 4 of Krasinski be able to hang on with no tires. A couple more laps, I think a 2-tire call is the right call. Especially for Birrell.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially with him, bigger picture. Yeah, he was up towards the top of the field, but he was behind all of his competition. Here he is just pulling a call, and he's going to be near the front of the field. Looks like Freeman is still going to stay out, and so that's going to be interesting. So we got a guy on no tires, 2 guys on 2 tires, and everyone else on 4.
And where is Andrew Rucker? He'll pop out of pit lane all the way back in 15th place. That's exactly where the 37 of Birrell restarted last time. He made his way back up into 7th before that caution came out. So we'll see if Rucker can do the same. I want to thank our sponsors again tonight for coming on board this season and helping out with this series. Of course, JoinAPS. We've linked Join APS in the description as well, with their short description from their website. And of course, we want to thank Gateway Motorsports Park for offering the season-end prizes and for building such a spectacular racetrack, because this is definitely in my top 3 favorite ovals, I think. And this is a track that needs to be on the Cup Series circuit, and I really hope it is for 2021.
Yeah, it definitely leads to some unique racing. And this is just a really unique track. You don't really see too many ovals with different turns on each side of the track. Maybe a difference in banking, but not as much as, for example, Darlington. So definitely a unique track, and would love to have this on the next schedule.
Well,
hopefully you guys are listening.
I also like how, I also like how tight it is. It forces you to use a lot of brake, a lot of throttle, and you have to downshift as well to be really quick around here, which is very much like Pocono in that regard, but I'd say Gateway is a better racetrack than Pocono in probably every conceivable way. So we'll see. Hopefully they'll be on the schedule for 2021. I think everybody would like that, as the lights are out of the pace car. I heard a motor blow here, Finian. Who was that? It was the 28 of Joshua Clark. And the damage on that car, too much. I didn't see where he got that damage from. I think he was involved in maybe in that one of those first collisions on the night. But here he is rolling off a pit lane, and motor blue on that number 28 Camry.
Yeah,
It's one of those radiator leaking and too much temperature couldn't cool it off. I think you'll tend to see engines heat soak under yellow. So if you have radiator damage and you don't have enough air going through the radiator, it will overheat and explode. That's why if you have a lot of damage, it's not really a great idea to sit in one spot for too long. It's best just to get that car rolling the air through the radiator and through the grill and cool that engine down. So the 28, it'll be night over for him. He'll finish at least in 20th place. Levi Zielinski is out on the racetrack. All right, field rolling through turns 3 and 4. To be Joshua Freeman in control of the field. He's got Ethan Birrell behind him on the inside. To his outside, it's Dallas Myhand in the 41. And he's going to launch immediately, does Freeman. Green flag back in the air.
yeah, fantastic start for him for second place at 37 to 41, peaking out. Where does everyone else behind him go?
Frankenfield kind of buried here a little bit. P6 on the restart. Has some work to do. Whoa, the 26! All sorts of sideways of the 99. Hard in defense. Huge collision. Car up on its lid. It's the one of J.R. Bolden slipping, sliding on his roof. And that car is destroyed. Wow. And a horrible collision for those drivers involved there. And J.R. Bolden is going to manage to drive that car away. But just like that, destruction here on the restart.
That was a really terrible wreck, as you're saying, between 99 and 24. Bounced off the wall at a high rate of speed.
Wow, the one car turning over, the 6 was involved in that as well. But a horrible collision behind the slipping and sliding car of Tyler Riggs. We're right on board the rear bumper cam here. You can see how this all transpired. He just gets loose on the inside of Frankenfield. The 99 has nowhere to go. Then he gets turned into the fence, and wow, that one car just gets turned over and goes into the outside wall. Bottom first. What a horrible collision. That's probably one of the worst wrecks we've seen all year.
Yeah, indeed. And also, if you want to take a look on board Andrew Rucker, one of our championship contenders, he restarted on the back, remember, after his spin under the that brought that previous caution out. He narrowly avoided the 24.
Here's a look from the 64's roll bar camera. You see already, get off into the corner, you can start seeing the slipping and sliding, and then what do you do here? You see the cars go in the fence, and whoa! Right underneath. That was a wild, wild wreck here, and a shame for especially the one in J.R. Bolden. Brandon Key involved. Key is in the 99. He was the one that originally got turned up into the fence. And Jeremy Yancey, just nothing that those guys could do there.
Yeah, it's pretty happened so quickly, and especially on these wrecks on a restart, everyone's all bunched up, and yeah, where do you go? And unfortunately, Jeremy Yancey, he's going to call it a night. He's going to retire from the race.
Rusty Capel tried to get to a complete stop, and almost did before getting that 99 in the door. Got locked up. Actually sustained minimal damage, considering. See that the one car rolling over there, but a big, big collision there between several cars. On lap number 18, J.R. Bolden, Rusty Capel, Brandon Key, Jeremy Yancey, and others involved. So a big, big wreck And you know who's leading this race? Ethan Birrell.
Yeah, Joshua Freeman, he came down on pit road. I think he figured now was a good chance to just get some tires on that thing. But yeah, Birrell taking the lead. And how about turn of that? We thought he would be kind of out of it after his spin be put back in it, but here he is with some really good strategy call at the top of the order. And Frankenfield and Riggs 4th and 5th, and Rucker all the way down still in 12th.
So Riggs did receive some damage from that rear-end collision. It's relatively minor and on the left rear mostly, so it shouldn't affect the handling of his race car. But the only championship contender that's not had an issue tonight is the 15 to Frankenfield.
Yeah, and at the rate this is going, I would be worried if I was him and be looking at every single angle of this track, because you never know really with these wrecks, especially that one. It happens so quickly in an instant. You know, you never know when you're going to be caught out or when the wreck happens right in front of you, because we've seen a few wrecks with the leaders being involved at this track already.
Yes, we have. I mean, all weekend we've seen lots of it, not only here, but in the 3-Wide Racing League last night, the Yinzer Graphics Unreal Tour at Iowa. They had leader, actually, it was Frankenfield last night spun out while leading the race. So you're not safe even when you're out front. We've seen the restarts be a very tricky spot. So far tonight, we've had 3 cautions for a total of 7 of our 21 laps we've completed. As we get the 1 to green here, we've had 4 lead changes, mostly with pit strategy, and that's the thing that's confusing to follow now. You take a look at the laps since pit, front 8 have stayed out since the last caution, 9th on back have come to pit lane. So there's all sorts of strategies to start to follow here. If this race goes green, there's going to be some number crunching and calculations going on in the heads of these drivers. All right, well, okay, a little early to maybe pick a favorite here, Finian, but who you're looking at is potentially a driver that could walk out of here with a victory.
I think I gotta say Krasneski. I mean, the fact that he took no tires early on, still held off. The guy's pretty strong. His car is definitely looking strong, obviously. Started second, currently in second, so I'm going to keep my eye on that 4 car.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I was going to pick Krasneski as well. He looks really, really strong. He's kept himself out of bad situations, even when he was on, you could call them older tires. So he's put himself in pretty good position. But of course, Frankenfield hard to bet against as well. So the starter's got the yellow flag in hand. He's going to replace that with a bright green one here in a moment. Lap number 23 of 90. Green flag back in the air. And a good restart on the inside lane as Birrell fires off.
Yeah, and he's going to take off into the night sky as the 4 of Krasneski's going to take second place. Mayan's going to take away third. Frankenfield trying to rock around that outside for the third place spot.
This time we get through turns 1 and 2. There's Dallas Myhand in the 41 on the inside of Frankenfield, but Frankenfield carries that speed on the outside off into turn 3. It's a big wad of cars out here as well. There's Rucker in the 64 trying to regain the spots that he lost after spinning out earlier in turn number 2. And there's the 41. Ooh, slow at the exit of turn 4. He's going to give up a couple spots here.
Yeah, I think he knows that a lot of the guys have fresher rubber behind them, so I think he's just trying to make sure he stays out of the way, doesn't get himself involved in an incident. Meanwhile, up to the front, it is on between Krasneski and Frankenfield as they're both reeling Birrell.
0.2 of a second for Birrell as he tries to pull away, but Frankenfield putting pressure on the back of that 4 car as well. It's Camry versus Mustang through 3 and 4. Getting all the way down to that curve, the 15 leans those left side tires on the red and white rumble strips. 1, 2, and 3 separated by 0.4 of a second.
Can Birrell do it? Can he hold up these charters? We saw Krasneski do it. Can the 37 do the same? Here he comes, Justin, all the way down low. Very aggressive line.
Yeah, Birrell way, way high in turn 2. Almost got up into the fence. We've seen alterations of different lines here. The inside, a pretty good place to late apex the corner, but the outside, you can get a pretty good run up there, but Birrell probably got a little bit too close for comfort. He's got Krasneski breathing down his neck now. Lap number 25 complete as Frankenfield tries to close in, but Tyler Riggs and Peter Heward are right behind and trying to launch an attack. What was a 3-car battle is turning into a 5-car battle. You see Krasneski leading a little bit of a defensive line down the back straight, trying to keep that 15 from maybe taking a look into turn 3.
Yeah, and really with these truck starters, you can really send it into the turn. You can really dive in late for the corner. I think that's what Krasneski's trying to defend from, because Frankenfield has shown that he's no stranger to making those kind of moves. You guys also should be a little bit careful of catching Levi Zielinski who just exit pit road in front of them.
Turns 1 and 2, you see that bright orange car, that's Zielinski. He's now 9 laps down. He's about to be in 18th place as Jeremy Yancey, who's called it a night, is retired, so he will get by that car shortly. Riding on board with Frankenfield, and it looks like he is staying in 4th gear through 3 and 4. I'm going to stay on board here all the way to 1 and 2. We'll see if he does the downshift move here.
I'd be surprised if he wasn't, because he's definitely catching up to that 4, and it's a lot faster to shift.
Stays in 4th.
Oh, and he's not.
Yeah, stays in 4th gear, so using the torque of that motor. And it's working out for him right now, and he, last time through, was actually the 3rd quickest of the front group, so he is not quicker than Birrell and Krzyzewski, but he's right there with them. Let's see him turn 4 now, closing in on Zielinski, who's got a lot of damage, so it'll be interesting to see how they choose to get around that stricken number 97.
Also depends if this if Zielinski's going to let them on by or give them a little bit of fight, trying to just hold on for one more lap.
I would imagine Zielinski would lay over, let them on by, as he's just out there trying to complete laps just to negate bad start to the night, and he's going to stay right as they enter turn number 3, give the drivers the preferred lane. But he crosses over, drills the back of the 37. No, he actually hit the leader, and it's stacked up Krzyzewski. Here comes Frankenfield to the inside now. Oh, contact! The 4 car spins hard into the fence on the front straight, right back into traffic. And does everyone miss him? Yes, they do, but the 4 car is destroyed, and that's the end of his night. Just like that, in the blink of an eye. That's the end of the night for Krzyzewski. That's a shame there, Finian. What do you think?
I was a little bit surprised on Krzyzewski because he turned left as if to overtake Zielinski, and then just ended up dooring Frankenfield on the side.
Yeah, I think you know, yeah, I don't know. Looking at that, it's hard to really have an opinion on this one, Finian, because he definitely turned hard left to try to keep from getting pinned in behind. I just don't think he intended for it to be that hard of a hit. And certainly a mistake. And I was surprised that Zielinski racing the leaders as hard as he did.
Actually, I think I know a little bit why.
Oh, maybe because the 37 was the one that stacked up that whole field in the first place?
No, I was going to say because Zielinski and Frankenfield are teammates.
Interesting. But either way, the 4 car had, I don't want to say he had room necessarily, but it was really a hard turn left. I really don't think he intended to do that that hard. And honestly, the 15 is in, he has full right to keep that car pinned in. He doesn't have to give the 4 car room there. He's perfectly in the right to just to kind of pin that 4 car in behind him. He did that, and of course, we saw how that turned out. So Krzyzewski destroyed. That'll be a DNF for him in the final race of the season. And for the 15, he's got some right front damage, and it's not insignificant either. He's got a pretty good hit there on that right front suspension. So that is all 4 of our playoff drivers involved in collisions here within the first third of the race. A lot of the field looking pretty hurt here. There's that 4 car coming in. Smoke booming from the rear of that car. That engine pretty much a loss.
Oh, whoa, we completely missed something on the back straightaway on lap 31. Krzyzewski not happy with Zielinski at all.
All right, let's take a look. We're watching replays at the moment. Let's find out exactly what happened here. Oh, yes. There it is. And let's go back a little farther here and find a better angle. Yeah, he drills the 97, and you know what? I'm not really sure how to feel about this one, Finian. I mean, I don't know what your opinion is on it. But, yeah, the 97 certainly racing the 4, not like probably should have, but at the same time, I think the 4 kind of forced his own issue there. At least the 4 was the reason why he crashed. I can understand some frustration with the 97 getting in his way, but certainly these drivers disagreeing with the outcome here. And a lot of drama here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Zielinski really did anything wrong. If anything, Zielinski did something wrong with Birrell, not really so much with Krzyzewski. He was on the outside lane. He didn't block Krzyzewski. He just ended up behind him, so... I don't know.
I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this one. There was certainly a lot of disagreement going on. All right, so lots of drama here in the first third of the race, and oh, look at this. They're still going at it here on pit lane here, Finian. I don't think we're done. I don't think that 4 car is going to get back out on the racetrack, but you can see they're clearly upset with each other. Drama here in the opening segment of this race as all 4 of our playoff drivers are currently in the top 4 here, Finian. Funny how that works its way out.
Yeah, it really is. It's funny. And I mean, they're the championship 4 for a reason. And definitely showing why here. Again, also just Birrell, great strategy too, because that put him in a spot. He got his track position with the 2-tire call. Now it took 4 tires, and here he is up in the lead. So waiting
for the lights to go out on the pace car once again, and it's going to be Birrell, Riggs, Frankenfield, Rucker, the top 4. I'm curious to see if Zielinski, yeah, looks like they've returned to their respective pit boxes here as the lights go out on the pace car. And we'll re-rack them, restack them. We'll go for the next 2/3 of this race. We'll see if these guys calm down a little bit or if they're going to keep the intensity high as the 37 chooses the outside lane for the restart. I am torn on which lane I want to choose here because we've seen drivers on the inside be able to just launch off into the corner. But at the same time, if you don't get clear of that outside driver, you can get held down there and you lose a lot of momentum on the backstrip. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people end up just completely sending the car deep into turn 1, deep on the brakes. That's where you see a lot of the accidents tend to happen also with guys just trying to make sure they clear that outside lane. You're watching the season finale for the ELITE JoinAPS Series here on SYM TV, taking over for, I believe it was, what was the Freaky Fast Broadcasting, so I apologize on that. I'm just trying to get myself all situated here with who we're filling in for. They couldn't do this race tonight, so we filled in last minute for these guys. And it's a season finale. Out of turn number 4, Birrell is the control car, that green and black machine on the outside lane, and we're back racing again, lap number 35. Yeah, great start for him, and Rucker also just nailing the restarts lately. Here he comes again, gonna clear Riggs by turn 1. Here comes Frankenfield to Riggs' inside. Power move for the 15, dives underneath the 26. He'll take that spot away as they climb up onto the backstretch. Oh no, more crashing. Not quite. Another caution again, and trying to find which car it was. It was the, trying to see what vehicle that was. That looped around. It's Kendall Noah Player in the 94. And he had some help from Logan Shea in the 6. So turn 1 and 2 being a very tricky corner so far. Here's a look. And 6 car might have slid up here on corner exit, or did it? Yeah. Yes. So those 2 cars getting together. So a spin there for Kendall Noah Player and caution back out again. And we'll see how these guys handle it. I think the tensions are already running a little high here tonight. So I don't want to watch too many replays. I want to keep an eye on these cars as they catch the field at the end. See how they go. No damage, or at least no significant damage to the 94. And the 6 already had some right front, from nose damage from a previous accident. So that is where most of that damage has come from. Kendall Noah Player hits pit lane. And the leaders are going to mostly stay out, I think. Yeah, it looks like nothing's going to result of that incident, but definitely tempers running higher at Gateway. 37 of 90 laps complete here for the 2019 ELITE JoinAPS Racing Series at Gateway Motorsports Park. It's the final race of the season here on SYM TV. Later tonight, you can catch the 3-Wide Racing League from Iowa. The Race Kings Cup Series takes on the 3/4 mile racetrack at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be there in a little over an hour and a half, so we're very excited for that race tonight. Tomorrow, Grid Life iRacers races Stadium Super Trucks at to-be-determined road courses, and that has been a blast so far. So tomorrow, 8:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the Grid Life iRacers League, and trust me when I say they are very, very talented. IMSA Michelin pilot drivers Tom O'Gorman, Kenton Cook, and others will all be competing tomorrow. And then Wednesday, it's the Spec MX5 Sim Racing Challenge from Road Atlanta in Brazelton, Georgia. That'll be over on the Winding Road Magazine YouTube channel at Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's what's coming up on SYM TV the next couple of days. Of course, Saturday, the Outsider Racing League chase continues at the Daytona Road Course, and you can tell I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah, it's going to be an absolutely spectacular race.
I'm honestly kind of curious if in real life there is a chance of that happening, considering the success of the Charlotte Roval.
I wouldn't be upset. I mean, there's probably better Rovals to use than Daytona's, but, you know, Gateway's got a Roval. I think we should use that one. Look at that. That was a great-looking road course. It's a lot of fun. Maybe a touch tight for stock cars, but it's got tall curves, which I very much enjoy. It's a pretty cool layout, all things considered. I think it can be fun to try. So our championship contenders, all 4 of them in the top 4 right now. It's Birrell, Rucker, Frankenfield, and Riggs. The driver that climbs the highest on that tower ticker at the end of lap number 90 will be your season champion. And so far, each one of those drivers has had their associated incidents. The 37 of Birrell involved in the first caution of the night. Rucker self-spun out of turn 2. Frankenfield had a collision out of turn 4. And the 26 of Tyler Riggs involved in a collision in turn 2. Got rear-ended after getting sideways and caused a multi-car pileup that involved this car, the one of J.R. Bolden, getting up on his roof. He's out here driving, Finn. You can't even read the roof number. There's so much damage on it, but he's still competing and trying to get every spot he can. And he's actually on the lead lap, believe it or not.
Yeah, that is amazing that he's able to still be in the lead lap considering the damage he got to that vehicle.
I mean, that is pretty incredible. You literally cannot read the roof number on that car. I mean, he's slid on that roof, and he slid for quite a ways. But keeping that car in contention. Maybe not to win, but at least to have a decent result. Pace car lights are out once again. The field's going to reline up. And we got Rucker and the 15 of Frankenfield on the inside lane. 2 Fords versus 2 Camaros in the outside lane for the restart. Then it's 2 Camaros behind, 2 more Camaros, and the 9 of Rusty Capel in a Ford Mustang alongside Kendall Nova Player, the most recent caution after spinning out of turn 2 with help from the 6 of Logan Shea, who looks like he's come to pit lane to get 4 Mr. Fieldgoods before we come back to the restart. All right, Finian, time to go racing again. We're almost to halfway, and so far we have yet to see a long green flag run. We've seen lots of drama so far, some collisions, some retaliation, and we're not done yet. The 51 laps to go at the start-finish line. It'll be Ethan Birrell in the outside lane with Andrew Rucker to the inside. Then it's Chad Frankenfield, Tyler Riggs, and the 41 of Dallas Myhan. That is your top 5 as we roll out of turn 4. Pace car is going to pull off. Control car is that 37, and he's going to waste no time. He fires back up. Green flag back in the air.
Green flag, Birrell off like a cannon. Rucker now trying to defend from Riggs and Frankenfield into turn 1. Almost contact between Riggs and Frankenfield.
The field is thinned out a little bit. We have about 5 cars that are off the racetrack at the moment, so we should get some more green flag running as wow. The third and 26 gets all sorts of sideways out of turn 2, and that's stacked him up. And then we'll let a couple drivers by. Peter Hewer, Dallas Myhan, and Brady Clark closing in from behind in the 14, but he's going to lose a bunch of spots as he got real tight out of turn 2.
Yeah, made some contact with the 15 of Frankenfield, so that slowed him up. He had to back out and lost some back position, so he's going to have to try to gain that back up as he goes to the outside of Dallas Myhan.
14 and the 94 of Kendall Nova Player side by side through turns 1 and 2. They'll re-clear each other. Behind the 3 of Scott Haney and Ethan Reason are side by side. That 86 was in the pits for extended periods of time earlier tonight. We're not sure what that was all about, but he's back racing in 10th and on the lead lap. But here comes the 6 of Logan Shea to his outside through 3 and 4. We're going to try 3 wide. Looks like we are.
Oh boy, Reasoner keeping it all the way to the inside to the wall, just trying to give some room. Shea, however, gets the pass looking to the inside now of Scott Haney.
Down through turn number 1, the 6 car on the inside lane. That's where he got himself into trouble last time, but Haney gives him plenty of space on the exit of turn 2. They finally get cleared. We head back up towards the front. It's Birrell by 0.4 of a second. Rucker, Frankenfield third. Then behind there's Riggs going back to the inside of Peter Hewer in turn 3.
Hewer trying to fight with that 26, but he's going to just let looks like he's going to let Riggs on by. So 26 cut back to Frankenfield. Made some contact on the restart. Does he have any feelings?
The 15 definitely has some right front damage. It doesn't appear to be hurting him too much. But right now, the leader, Birrell, is the quickest car on the racetrack. So he's beginning to stretch that lead out. It's still 0.4 of a second, but slowly increasing as they rocket down the back straight.
And Rucker.
The Reasoner to the inside of Scott Haney through turns 3 and 4. Rusty Capel right behind. Capel's been involved in a couple collisions. Oh, the 88 or 86 sideways out of turn 4. He's going to slam on the brakes, and he misses turning into the next caution flag. He might have gotten some right rear damage. Let's quickly take a look at that, how he got himself in that position, but all sorts of sideways through turns 3 and 4 on the inside. Does he clip the curb? Yes, he does. Gets on the curb just a little bit, and that's enough. He slams on the brakes, and oh, there was more collisions out there on the racetrack, and it's the 86 again. Can't hold on to it. Caution out. So that will be our 6th caution of the night for 18 laps at the halfway point of this one. 86 and Reason are just having a really poor couple of laps here. And does he get on the curb again? Nope, this time just on the edge of control, spins, locks up.
I think best thing to do is ride on board with him and listen to the engine.
I'm gonna go back a little farther here. He was down into turn 1. Oh, yeah, right there. And that's a downshift into 3rd gear to try to get some extra torque. And this is why I said earlier in the broadcast, I said this is a lot like a road course. Well, there's a reason I said that. It's because you need to have some shifting skills to be able to do that shift mid-corner smoothly. And a lot of times, I'll shift pre-corner, shift on the braking zone so that you're not braking and upsetting the balance of the race car. But that's what happened to the 86. Realized he needed some more torque, so he downshifted to 3rd and didn't rev match properly. Spun the rear wheels and spun out. So the whole field heads back onto pit lane at the halfway point here, finishing lap 45 of 90.
Yep, and everyone down on pit road, I imagine. We're probably going to see 4 tires for most of it. Does any of our championship 4 decide to take 2 to try to get some track position up into the front? Because it definitely looks like this is going to be a short-term race. A lot of short runs here.
Yeah, I think the what we've seen all weekend with the setups at Gateway is that they are very challenging to drive. It's not an easy combination. You see Frankenfield, did he take 2 tires? It looks like he has. So a 2-tire stop for the 15. Everyone else takes 4. But we've seen the setup be very challenging to drive across the board, across the stock car series, between Xfinity Cup. Even the trucks last night at Iowa are very challenging to drive. So we've seen some issues here and there, but seems like we're going to have relatively short runs, but the field is dwindling a little bit, Finney. We've had probably about a third of the field involved in some sort of collision or spin tonight, as you see the 26 is in pit road for an extended period of time. Tyler Riggs, looks like is he disconnected, Finney?
Don't think he did.
Not currently in the race car, at the very least.
Yeah, he's just not sitting in oh, his quality is dropping. I think he might have an internet problem.
That would be a real shame to be running for a championship and have the internet go out on you, but that looks to be the case. And luckily it's under caution, so he's got a little bit of time to get back in.
Nope, there he goes.
Oh, so a shame. So Riggs will drop out, and the internet and the electricity not going to work for the 26 at the moment. So unfortunately, that's part of racing online, is having a stable and fast internet connection, and that's going to drop the 26 potentially out of a championship position here as his 3 championship contenders, Frankenfield, Birrell, and Rucker, sit 1 through 3.
Yeah, if he can hurry up and get it adjusted, I think we're going to come back to 1 to go. He might be able to avoid going 2 laps down. He's definitely going to go at least 1.
Already has scored 1 lap down on the timing and scoring. Ethan Reasoner back out on the racetrack after his spin. And hopefully that's one of those things that you do once and you try not to do again, Finian, and making a poor downshift off into the corner. And just got to be careful when you rev match the car that you do it correctly. Right. Riggs does have time to get back in here. So the pace car lights are still on. And they probably will shut off this time through. We'll get them gridded back up. Go racing for the last half of this race. And there they go. Pace car lights are off. Watching SYM TV, my name, of course, is Kyle Heyer alongside Finian Dacuna. And we have a very exciting announcement to make regarding the end of this summer. August 23rd through 25th, Finney and I will be traveling to Road Atlanta to commentate for the Grid Life Touring Cup at the end of August, and that's going to be really fun. They're flying us down to Atlanta. I participated in Grid Life Midwest back in early June and had an absolute blast, so SYM TV will be covering real road racing out in Road Atlanta for the Grid Life Touring Cup, which is a brand new wheel-to-wheel racing series. And they've put on some spectacular racing, and those drivers, some of those drivers you can see race tomorrow night in the Grid Life iRacers Championship for the Stadium Super Trucks. And the Grid Life Touring Cup essentially is guys with their everyday race cars putting a roll cage in them and balancing weight versus horsepower, and anything else goes. And it's a great series to watch. So rolling through turns 3 and 4, Finian, it's time for another restart. We're coming back to lap number 49.
And there you see them jump the start, green flag in the air. Frankfield's going to lead them down with a big lead over Birrell.
So it's taken a while for that 15 to get himself back out front, but there he goes. He'll slot in. And my hand is splitting the championship contenders right now in 3rd place behind Kendall Nova Player to the inside of Logan Shea. There were some issues last time. Look at Rucker popping out of line to try to get by my hand on the back straight.
Yeah, he needs to do it. He's got his 2 rivals now up in front of him. He's going to dive in deep in front of my hand. He's going to take the spot. But meanwhile, up there, does Birrell have anything for Frankenfield?
It was quicker prior to the yellow, so we'll see if he can get that spot back. Remember, the 15 is only on 2 tires. The 37 is on 4 fresh ones. Down the front straight that time through. Birrell was quicker that lap by a 10th. All over the back of the 15 through 1 and 2.
Here he is. He's going to dive down low, gas it up again. Got to be careful. We see some people get loose. Frankenfield loose off the corner.
And move to the inside. Here comes Birrell for the championship lead with 40 laps to go to the inside down in turn 3.
Ooh, almost made contact. Birrell slid up into Frankenfield just a little bit. They didn't touch just yet. Frankenfield pinching him down on the inside.
Here comes Rucker as well from 3rd. The 15 still fighting hard on the outside as they cross the line nearly dead even. The 37 leads that lap, though, by 66 thousandths of a second.
Oh, Birrell's going to dive it in deep. He's going to clear that 15. Frankenfield trying to gas it up on the outside. Can't get it done.
Oh, in the fence hard!
Into Rucker and around. Frankenfield goes.
No! Big damage for the 15. Rolling backwards to try to avoid any more damage, but again, one of the championship contenders, big hit at the exit of turn 2. And that's a real shame there, Finian. You don't see Frankenfield make a lot of mistakes, but right there was a big one. And here's another look at it from the flip camera here. You can see him trying to throttle up and just loses the banking and gets into the 64, bounces off the fence. The 8 car narrowly misses him and then just throws it in reverse. Try to avoid getting hit by more drivers. You gotta hope he had that clutch pedal in so he didn't roll that engine backwards and cause himself some more damage.
Yeah, that's really the danger too, but looks like he was able to avoid that.
Oh, the 64 Rucker got some heavy right side damage as well and all that.
Yeah, and Birrell was able to get away scot-free from that, so we'll see how Rutger's car is. I don't think it should be too bad for him, but definitely Frankenfield's going to be hurting after that damage.
Rucker's choosing to stay out on the racetrack. Of course, Frankenfield's going to come in and try to repair some of that. It's been a troublesome night for these drivers. We're 52 laps in. We've run 22 of our 52 laps under yellow. We've had 7 cautions, 6 lead changes, as Kendall Nova Player from 6th leads the rest of the field on pit lane. The front 5 choose to stay, front 6 rather, choose to stay out.
Yeah, and also update, Tyler Riggs is back on the racetrack. However, he is 4 laps down, and that's going to be quite a lot to make up.
Things are not going great for this 26 at the moment. But good news is, if he can get himself in a free pass position, he could probably get these back. We've had 7 cautions so far. If we continue on this pace, we'll have enough to get him, Riggs, back on the lead lap. So he's just got to keep his head in it. We talked about how challenging this racetrack is, Finian, but the setup really does seem on edge. But there's also the intensity of knowing that because the setup's on edge, there's going to be yellow flags, and that's making people drive extra hard, knowing that they really need to make their passes in 1 or 2 laps. Otherwise, they're going to get stuck getting taken advantage of on restarts. So they really need to figure out how to get these long green flag runs so everyone can settle down a little bit. But Birrell, I think, has launched himself as probably the favorite to win this race.
Yeah, definitely he seems to have pace no matter what set of tires he's on, how many fresh tires he's got on that car. That car is pretty much team dominant out of our 4 different championship contenders. Unfortunately, Riggs, it's going to be hard for him to get back in the fight. He was also looking pretty competitive, but even Rucker too, showing some pretty solid pace. And at the moment, it's pretty much just between him and Birrell.
Yeah, Rucker is, you're right, he has shown a lot of pace so far tonight. There's a reason why they're lit up in green, because they are playoff drivers, Finney. You don't get to the playoffs by accident. And Rucker has had a mighty good season, sits in 2nd place right now, but he does have some pretty heavy right side damage after that collision with the 15. I think right now the 37 has the cleanest car and is in the best position. put Rucker solidly, conveniently in second place in terms of who I think could win this race.
Yeah, it really just comes down for Birrell. It's a matter of nailing strategy, not making mistakes on any strategy, or getting caught out by other guys doing different options than you. Because I think that might cost him. We saw him do a great strategy earlier to get him the lead. Hasn't lost it pretty much since. It has been up in the front, so he can't afford to get caught out by it.
Take this opportunity again to thank the sponsors for coming on board all season. Of course, Join APS. We've got their link in the description. If you're waiting under yellow to wait for this race to go back green, just open up another tab and check out their services, as well as Gateway Motorsports Park. I don't know. I think are we done with Gateway for the season? I think it's only the truck series in real life here, Finian. So I think Gateway's done. But I would really recommend getting yourself some tickets if you're near the St. Louis area, because they put on some spectacular racing. I know the truck race was pretty fun with Ross Chastain winning this year. And hopefully, like we mentioned before, it gets on the Cup schedule in the near future, as we're going to re-rack and restack the field. Birrell chooses the inside lane this time, at least he has so far on this last pace lap. What do you think about a SYM TV sound surge on the restart here, Finian?
I think it's good. I think we haven't actually done one in a while.
We have not done one in a while, and I made a big CPU upgrade the last couple of days, so it kind of worked my audio setup, so that was one of the reasons why we didn't do one. But now we're all set up, and we may or may not get a yellow, but we're going to just stay quiet until everything calms down, whether it's a long green flag run or whether it's a yellow. We're going to go SYM TV sound surge. Here we go. Returning back from the sound surge, Ethan Birrell is taken off to a 7/10 of a second lead, but there is a big fight out of turn 4. Frankenfield's right in the middle of it. It's the 3 of Scott Haney. There's the 26 car of Tyler Riggs in there as well. He's still 4 laps down, trying to gain some spots back after his internet dropped out there, but side by side at the exit of turn 2.
And actually, the last lap too, Riggs went for a hell of a slide. I'm amazed he actually saved it. He was dead sideways in turn 3, and I think almost had a heart attack.
Battles all over the racetrack at the moment, but nothing out front. It's Birrell by almost a second over Rucker. This is the largest lead that we've seen anybody have so far. Logan Shea up to 4th place, Brady Clark 5th, Peter Heward 6th, Chris Jordan 7th. Haven't talked about that number 58 so far yet tonight. Currently sitting in 7th after starting in 20th. So he started dead last, essentially, and is now sitting in a good spot to get a top 10. Meanwhile, Chad Frankenfield, after his collision, back up inside the top 10, trying to work his way back forward to catch the championship contenders.
Yeah, but still, he's still got quite a bit of traffic to work through and time to work through. He's 5.6 seconds behind the leaders. Oh, he's sideways off of turn 4.
Now, and again, he spins right in front of the 26. Caution out, lap number 61. And Chad Frankenfield's night continues to fall, and I'm not sure if that left front tire is supposed to be cambered like that, but it could be damage related, and he just continues to have a miserable night after starting off very, very strong. And this is pretty straightforward here. Does he get on the curb? He might have touched it a little bit. Very slippery area. Not quite. He got right to it, but maybe throttled up a little quick. I want to ride on board and see if he maybe downshifted as well, getting into that position. Nope, it's in fourth gear the whole time. It just got out from underneath him. Managed to keep it out of the wall. Won't receive any more additional damage. Now, Ethan Reasoner should be getting the free pass here in that number 86. And that means that the next driver that will be in position to get the free pass will be Tyler Riggs. So a blessing and a curse for the 26.
Yeah, he's gonna. But the problem with him, though, he's got to hope that he gets A, 4 cautions, and B, hopes that he's the recipient of that. No one else goes a lap down, because being 4 laps down, it's really hard to get back from.
You're right. As we close in on the final 30 laps of this race, only about 15 minutes of green flag racing remaining if they were to go green that whole time. We gotta watch that staircase there on the pit road. See everyone getting real close to that. I don't get why they don't remove that.
I don't get why they do either, but it is really funny to see everyone dodge that staircase.
Everyone has a natural tendency to kind of hug that outside wall until right next to their pit stall. And you do that too much, you get yourself in trouble. Logan Shea wins the race off pit lane. Interesting strategy call there. 2 tires for him. Everyone else takes 4. What do you think of that call?
I think it's a good call, especially for a guy who don't want to win the race. Might as well try some strategy, although he's got quite a bit of damage to his nose, so we'll see how the handling of the car will do. It's definitely a bold strategy.
Well, we saw the 15 try this strategy and also got involved in a wreck as well, so it seems like it's a double-edged sword tonight. So Reasoner back on the lead lap. And the next... Ooh, Tyler Riggs also got a lap back in that sequence, so actually he'll be a wave around here. That's another thing we haven't really considered, Fane, is he could take the wave around, and there's really no reason to get 4 fresh tires when you're not necessarily competing with anybody. You're just trying to get the benefits of the yellows. So he could stay out this whole time, and without the free pass could still get his laps back as long as the leaders come down pit lane. So Tyler Riggs is now 3 laps down. He was 4, so he's 25% of the way to being back in competition for this championship.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. He's got to hope and pray that every single driver comes down onto pit road. If one stays out and stays out entirely, doesn't even come down the second time, he's going to be stuck back in again. And right now, though, he is in the free pass position. I think he's actually one of the only cars a lap down on the track still.
The only other driver that is laps down that is on the racetrack is the 28 of Joshua Clark. I thought that motor blew on that.
I guess they swapped a new one in.
Wow. That's interesting. I didn't know you could do that. Either that or it might have been the...
Oh, no, no, you can swap you can get a new motor, but it literally takes half an hour for them to put it.
Or at least repair the one that is damaged anyway. So, coming back to the restart, Logan Shea will be the leader in that number 6, that Red Bull Camaro. Ethan Birrell, who has led a significant portion of this race, and even though he was involved in the first caution of the night, he's been relatively calm and cool and collected since then. He's been out on the racetrack mostly inside the top 5 since that initial issue, and he doesn't have a scratch on that car other than the rear end, so he's looking like he's in a pretty good position to win this race and this championship. Remember, he is currently in position to win the championship as he is the highest green-colored driver, the highest playoff driver in the field at the moment.
And yeah, he's in a prime position too because the Riggs and Frankenfield are out of it as of right now. I mean, Frankenfield can get himself back in, but has to make up quite a few spots. He really only has to worry about Rucker. And again, he doesn't have to win the race. He doesn't have to be the highest finishing of those guys, so he doesn't have to push for the win. Obviously, it's really hard to tell a driver to not push for the win. But, you know, always bigger picture here. So we'll see what Birrell does if he tries to go for the win on Shea, and how Shea gonna fare on this restart.
All right. So, I think that Ethan Birrell machine is probably in position to win this race and the championship. So, The winner of the championship gets a Gateway prize pack and a Champion's plaque and $35. So not only do you get some cash money, you get an opportunity to head over to Gateway Motorsports Park and or Gateway merchandise, or both. That 37's looking like he's in a pretty good position as well. If you could do me a favor, Finney, is look up our green-white, if we run green-white checkers, and how many do we run, that would be excellent. I haven't got a check on that, so if you could look through the rulebook real quick, try to find that for me. Or maybe ask Chad, but coming out of turn 4, I wouldn't ask Chad right now, he's driving. The green flag back in the air, lap number 66.
Here they race off into turn 1. Birrell and Rucker fighting side by side for position. Here comes Rucker, pinning Birrell down. Can he make the run off the corner?
Whoa!
No, the 37 is going to close him off.
He tried to throw the block, but couldn't do it. Side by side down the back straight for second.
They're still going at it. Dead heat down into turn 3. Looks like the 64 is going to back up. Does he do a crossover? No, he can't.
It's pretty hard to throttle up on an inside lane, and 37 manages to do it. Meanwhile, behind, it's a big hornet's nest of race cars out of turn 4. There's the 14 of Brady Clark, the 15 of Frankenfield, the 3 of Scott Haney, and there's the 86 of Reasoner as well back in the fight. These guys all just duking and diving for a position that'll eventually be for the 8th spot. Ooh, Rusty Capel got in the fence out of turn 2. For the top spot, though, Birrell closing in on Logan Shea.
I was about to say, he caught up quite a bit of time, and now Birrell just has to worry about one driver. Again, doesn't have to force the issue, but you know, it would be nice to put at least one car between him and Rucker.
Off into turn 1 now. Shea leads this race, but he is slower, about 2/10 a lap. Then that 37 cars make their way onto the backstretch. It's going to be a battle for the lead here shortly. Here comes Birrell with a big head of steam on the backstraight.
Yeah, and he's got the corner through that last corner much better than the 6. Let's see how they do in 3 and 4. 37's got the advantage.
Side by side. Door to door out of turn 4. That's a vulnerable spot on the inside, but Birrell almost clears the 6. He's still alongside. Logan Shea is as they cross the line. Birrell leads that lap. Lap number 69 off in the corner. The 37 completes the pass. Rucker crosses right over the back of the 6, and there is the 41 of Dallas Myhand all over his rear bumper.
Yeah, Rucker tried to throw it to the inside of Shea. Couldn't get it done, and Myhand almost
spin in the
got
background.
past.
Rusty Capel. Capel goes for a loop. Caution out. It's our 9th one of the night. And this time it's the 9 who's been involved with a couple collisions not of his doing. We'll see if this one is as well. Nope, just got sideways again, Finian on edge through turns 1 and 2. It's a very tricky racetrack.
Yeah, I'm also right on board with Chris Jordan. He got an interesting view of that wreck. Just narrowly avoided the 9.
Woohoo! He's lucky the 9 spun around the way he did, otherwise he would have been right involved in that. Great driving there by Chris Jordan. So Birrell back in the lead will keep that spot after leading down into the corner.
Ooh, he's going to stay. Here comes Logan Shea down. Anyone else follow? Nope. A lot of people are going to stay out. Player Frankenfield, a lot of the back half of the field coming down.
Yeah, I'm just interested because we've seen a lot of split strategy. It's rare that we've seen the entire field come down all at once. And that continues in the latter half of this race. So it'll be 20 laps to go. Now we're getting down to it. This is pretty much the nitty-gritty. So for Birrell and Rucker, they're really the only ones in championship contention at the moment. They're going to really be duking it out amongst themselves. So how about Tyler Riggs? He's stuck 3 laps down and will not be able to take the wave around here because...
No.
Oh, free pass. Not the wave around, but the free
he
pass.
will be. Yeah, because J.R. Bolden came down on pit road, so he effectively forfeited that. So Riggs is going to be the next one to get it, and he does. So back down on 2 laps. So it's really looking good for the 26 at this rate.
And honestly, he's the second best in terms of car damage compared to the other 2 drivers. The only car that I would say is any better looking is the 37. The 64 and the 15 both have pretty significant damage. And speaking of the 15, he's back out on the racetrack, but that car is pretty torn up. I mean, I really wouldn't consider Gateway a short track. It might have some short track characteristics, but aero does matter here. And whoa! The 94 almost drilled the back of the 15 as they got on the brakes. That was a close moment. Here's a look. The 94 maybe was distracted there for a moment. That was a little close.
Yeah, definitely was very close. That almost added more salt to Frankenfield's wounds with the way this night has gone so far.
Yeah, I think it was 94 looked down for just a second. Woo. I think that made Chad probably look up in the mirror and go, uh-oh, before that collision could have happened. So it'll be 2 laps to green here. We've had we've had 72 of 90 laps complete here at the Gateway Motorsports Park. It's been kind of a wild night. And Birrell leads this race. Rucker in second, those two in championship contention. Dallas Myhead, he's been quietly sitting there up inside the top 5 the last little bit, Finian. Maybe he's one that could sneak a victory away.
Yeah, I mean, that car looks in pretty pristine shape compared to the guys around him, so... And also seemed to have some decent speed, just not entirely on par with Rucker and Birrell, but should something happen between those two, we might see him, Dallas Myhead, that is Ike out for a win.
All right, this is the point of the race where I'm going to ask you who wins, and I'm going to hold you to it. You don't get to change your decision after this moment.
Championship or race?
Oh.
I think Birrell is going to take both. I think it's kind of hard not to pick him.
Okay.
I would say he's probably made the least errors tonight and probably has made the best decisions and best moves out of the championship 4.
Well, considering you took the driver I was going to pick, I think I'll go with Andrew Rucker. I think he's going to sneak on by Birrell here. If we could just get green for a couple laps, I think Rucker will be able to lean the bumper on him and maybe get a pass for the win underway here. So, we'll be relining up, especially now that the 64 is going to get the inside lane with that fast number 41 lined up behind. The 8 of Peter Heward right behind as well. We haven't talked a whole lot about this 8 tonight. Got some rear end damage, but for the most part, it's been out of trouble. Started 13th, running 30s up 10 spots. Maybe a dark horse to be considered for the victory.
Yeah, and I mean, really just staying out of trouble is really what you need to do. I mean, if you look at third through 7th, all of them started 10th or higher. So they've all broken inside the top 5 or so. So just moving up through a lot of guys getting damaged and wrecking out early on. So patience is the name of the game. And even in the last few laps, you're still going to need some to make sure you get to the final 90 laps.
Ethan Birrell chooses the outside lane for the restart. This is one of those decisions that you hope in 10 laps you're not going to regret. It's going to be 17 laps to the end of the race. If it goes green, it'll be about 9 minutes worth of action on SYM TV to conclude the 2019 ELITE JoinAPS Series season. Through turns 3 and 4. 37 launches, and green flag's back in the air, and a really good launch by Birrell. He's going to clear Rucker very easily.
Yep, and speaking of Rucker, he's kind of pinned in. He's got a driver on the outside of him, driver behind him, and he's trying to navigate. But Peter Heward on the outside of the 8, trying to gas it up.
Behind him, the 94 and 58 get together. There was some side-by-side contact, but action up for second place as Rucker goes around the outside of Heward. Myhand and the 8 battling off into turn 3.
Yeah, meanwhile, Birrell taking off into the distance. Rucker's got some work to do to try to reel that 37 back in.
Side by side, it's the bright blue machine on the rear bumper. That's the 14 of Brady Clark and the 6 of Logan Shea. They're side by side off into the corner. Frankenfield's gained 3 spots since the restart. He's on the move as well. Could he potentially get himself back in championship contention? No! Big hit for the 14 out of turn 2. Hard hit, and the 6 car involved as well.
No caution, though, we remain green.
And those cars are destroyed. Let's quickly take a look at what happened here. Was there some car-to-car contact? With the 6, did he push up? Yes. Oh, the 14 actually kind of turned down a little bit. Caution. What happened this time? It's the 86, I believe, out of turn 4. I see some smoke. And here's a look. Got big time on the curb there and spun out all on his own. Oh, the 58 got some damage as well. But yeah, the incident between the 14 and the 6, I think Brady Clark kind of turned down into the 6 car a little bit, and the 6 slammed on his brakes in retaliation. So those drivers clearly not happy with each other. As we have our 10th caution, double-digit yellows with 14 to go.
Yeah, but it's starting to get into the nitty-gritty here, so...
That's my line.
Well, I'm going to steal it. So, we got Birrell and a bunch of guys up here. would you fancy now trying to come in and get some tires for the rest of this race?
Well, for the leaders, the top 4 have 14-lap-old tires. I think that's about time. I know most of them have been under yellow, but I think now you should really come get them. And then from here on out, just stay out. I think that's really the move. And whoop.
My hand thought. Yeah, you thought about it again, but nope, it's going to be Heward leading them down.
And he'll bring around Frankenfield, Freeman, Papel, and others. But the top 3 will stay on the racetrack, and this is when they can make your bet. Now you got to lay in it, because I don't think you'll see those other cars come back to pit lane. I think they're probably going to be done for the night, which means that these front 3, they're kind of locked in a box now. They really can't pit at this point unless they want to give up some track position. Meanwhile, where's Tyler Riggs? Sitting 2 laps down, and he should get the free pass here again. And he does. He's only 1 lap down. I'm sure he's wishing for 1 more yellow.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, we have enough time to get it, and I feel like the rate we've been going at it, we definitely will, but it's going to be a tall order for him. Not only does he have to get that caution, he's also got to get up to the front, or at least try to, in very few laps, so it's going to be a tall order for that 26, but imagine if he was able to do that, to come from 4 laps down to win the championship. That would be a story.
Anything is possible. I think Logan Shea was... some drama here on the pit lane. And we're going to go back and see what happened here. Here's a quick look. Did he reverse down pit lane? Yes, he did. I'm not quite sure. Is he just trying to get back in his box?
Yeah, I think he was trying to get back in his box.
So I'm rolling backwards, and I was like, there might be some more drama on the pit lane, but no more. The 6 of Shea continuing to get service on that crash damage as the field rolls out of turn 4. There's the 86 of Reasoner getting back on the racetrack. Some more drivers hitting pit lane in the background. That's the 99 of Brandon Key. And the 28 of Joshua Clark, who I'm amazed is still running in this race after all the damage he's received. All right, Finian. 12 laps to go. It'll be about 10 to go when we get the restart. And that's a short time indeed for these guys to make any spots up. So for Frankenfield, I'm looking at that as not, he's a little far back, I think. I think with 10 to go, you got to be really in the top 4. If Chad can pass a couple cars in the first corner, I think he'll be in position to go up and challenge those leaders. But Birrell has just been so solid and has not given up any positions on the restarts here. Rucker didn't get a great restart. He'll have another opportunity to get that right. But how challenging is it to get a good launch alongside the leader? I think usually you want to be in 3rd rather than 2nd to get a good restart.
Yeah, it's really hard because, especially, I think a lot of these guys run on single monitors too. You have to pretty much have a button to only look left, and you can't look straight, so you have to keep looking between straight and forward to make sure you don't hit the wall or hit anything else when you're going forward, while also trying to find out where the leader is going to restart. Meanwhile, if you're in 3rd, you got the leader right in front of you. As soon as he just makes a wiggle, you step on the gas. So definitely, it's a lot harder to start from 2nd than it is 3rd place. Not that we're seeing 3rd place pretty much overtake 2nd by the time we get to turn 1.
Lights are to head out on the pace car this time through, and if you're still watching here and you want to see some more SYM TV action, well, you don't have to wait too long, because in about 50 minutes, it'll be the 3-wide Cup Series, the Race Kings Cup Series from Iowa Speedway, and they raced there in the trucks last night, and they're going to head there with the Cup Series this evening for a little bit longer race tonight, so that'll be live in short order. Then tomorrow, of course, we mentioned it before, the Grid Life iRacing League with the Stadium Super Trucks tomorrow night, 8:40 p.m., and then the Spec MX5 Sim Racing Challenge at 8:30 on Wednesday night. That's all Eastern Standard Times. Final 10 laps. Birrell in a position of strength. Rucker going to be on the attack, as offensive as he can be. The 94 Kendall Noah Player sitting in 4th. Chad Frankenfield sitting in 6th, right behind him. What can that Menards number 15 do in that day-glow yellow Mustang? Does he have any chance left at coming home with a championship trophy through turns 3 and 4? Birrell on the outside lane. That Monster Energy Camaro has to go 10 more laps, about 15 miles, to win this championship. Ooh, a stack up! Ooh. Green flag back in the air, some bumper-to-bumper contact, but the 37 gets a good launch.
Yeah, Rucker tried to jump, get a good jump on the 37, and he jumped to start. He had to back off, and that made everyone stack on the inside line. Looks like everyone's able to get through all right to 1 and 2.
Will they potentially penalize that jump? But he gave the spot back +1, so I don't think he really intended to do that. Dallas Myhan gets past Frankenfield up into 4th. A power move by the 15. Look at that run.
Yeah, great job by Frankenfield. Here comes now to the inside of Rucker. Now Rucker's got to worry.
The 15's on fresh tires as well. Is that going to be a big enough difference? 10 laps to go. Make it 9 as Birrell comes on through. Kendall Noah player in 2nd. Rucker 3rd. Chad Frankenfield on the attack in 4th. Does he have enough tire to go up there and challenge for the lead?
Does he have enough time, too? I don't think he can afford a yellow to make this strategy of his work. And here he goes now to the inside of the 64.
You have to launch off pretty deep into the corner, side by side. Oh, it's not quite clear. The 64 is going to throttle back up. Not early enough, though. The 15 gets 3rd place away.
So Rucker now going to fall back into 4th place, 3rd in the standings overall. Frankenfield now has got 1 car between him and Birrell, but again, does he have enough time here as the laps are winding down?
Last time through, Chad ran a 32.065 to Birrell's 31.998, so Birrell was quicker. He's out to an 0.8 of a second lead, and it's not just catching the driver. You have to pass him too, and often that takes a couple laps as well. So Birrell trying to stretch that lead out as quickly as he can, because Frankfield's on the run. Look at the 21 of Freeman going all over the place in turns 3 and 4. Over the back of Myhan, crosses him over. He's going to make a pass. Look at the battle for 3rd, or make that 2nd place between Kendall Noah Player and Frankenfield.
It looks like Player is just going to back out of it. I think he wants to stay out of this championship fight. He's going to give the position to Frankenfield. Realizes that he's faster, and now it's 1-on-1 Frankenfield versus Birrell as the laps wind down.
Frankenfield's on fresh tires. Birrell has about 15 to 20 lap old tires. There's a 2nd between them. Last time through, Frankenfield was a 10th quicker, but it could be more. Through 3 and 4, Birrell is going to see 6 laps to go, but he's going to have to run from Frankenfield. He's going to have to try as hard as he can to keep that yellow number 15 behind him.
And looking at the laps this time through, it was Frankenfield faster by 0.3 of a second.
If a caution comes out, the 37's hopes are essentially over. That 15 is quicker, he's got better tires, but is it going to be enough? It isn't going to be enough if the 15 keeps closing at that rate. But it's one thing to catch them, it's another to pass them. Frankenfield closes 0.7 of a second between the leaders.
And here they come this season. After 20 some odd rounds, it's all down to 5 laps here for the championship.
5 laps to go here at Gateway Motorsports Park. The 37 of Birrell leads. That time through, Frankenfield was only marginally quicker. Just about 1.5 tenths, but he is closing quick. 0.6 of a second through 1 and 2.
Birrell's just got to make sure he looks ahead. He can't afford to look in his mirror and try to match Frankenfield. He's going to make a mistake that way. He's just got to look at the track ahead.
0.5 of a second. It's now down to 0.5 second. Frankenfield has time to get there, but will he keep closing at the rate he is out of turn 4? 4 laps to go now for Birrell.
Ooh, big check up off of 4. Looks like everyone's all right.
And all Birrell is hoping for is no yellows. He only stands a chance if it stays green, but look at Chad close up on the corner entry. He gained a bunch through there. 0.3 of a second now. It's only a couple car lengths between the leaders as they make their way towards 3 to go.
Yeah, is Frankenfield going to have enough, though, to get around the 37, or will he have to try something? I mean, this is a championship on the line. What is Frankenfield going to do?
He might have to send it in pretty deep to the corner, but it's going to be 3 laps to go. Birrell leads by 2.5.
Oh, Frankenfield hard into the wall!
No, the 15 pounds the fence out of turn 4. And that might have been it, Finney. In 0.8 of a second, the gap has grown now to a second. Huge damage on the right front of that car, and it might be Birrell's championship right there in his hands.
Now, all Birrell has to do is just make sure he doesn't make a mistake. Just look forward, hit your marks.
It's going to have to be a monumental effort for that 15 to gain back what he lost that lap. Birrell through 3 and 4. He's going to see 2 laps to go. Who's quicker this time? It should be Birrell. And it is by 0.3.
Yeah, and again, as long as he doesn't make a mistake, he's got it. Frankenfield, I think that might have been the move that's going to cost him.
He was closing and almost had it. But it may not be enough. It's still a second between them. It's going to take a mistake by Birrell for Frankenfield to have a shot. There's the gap. It's about 10 car lengths entering turn 3. Side-by-side battles behind them, but we're focusing on the championship lead. Through 3 and 4, the white flag in the air. No chance for a caution to make this race go away for Birrell. White flag in the air. 1 more lap at Gateway.
4 more turns for Birrell, and he will be the champion.
Through 1 and 2. back onto the throttle. He's got 2 corners left.
Yeah, he qualified the lowest out of the championship 4, but he is half a lap away from seeing that checkered flag. What a comeback.
Spin in the background. It's the 8 car in the wall out of turn 2. Birrell started the night with a spin to the inside wall in turn 2. We thought it might have been over, but for Ethan Birrell out of turn 4, it's gonna be a race win and it's gonna be a championship. Birrell wins at Gateway.
Fantastic job there, but Frankenfield, he'll come in second, just short, and will finish second in the points. Kendall Noah Player will finish in third. Andrew Rucker in fourth. Joshua Freeman rounding out your top 5.
Dallas Mayan went for a loop in turn number 4. The 8 of Peter Heward went for a loop out of turn 2, but for Ethan Birrell, champion and race winner. Wow. And for Frankenfield, all thrown away there with a couple laps left to go. More congratulations for the 37. And it's after a long season of hard-fought battles from all sorts of different kinds of racetracks to concluding here at Gateway. There's nothing sweeter than a race win, except for a championship. And he's going to burn this one down. Now, you bet me that.
Yeah, and really just a great drive after making that mistake earlier. Did a great call for 2 tires to get him some track position. Has pretty much been in the front ever since and had an error-free night. And I think that's why you see we were the ones to see him cross the checkered flag first. Just the fewest mistakes out of our championship guys, and just a great race overall.
Tyler Riggs in the 26 ended up finishing 12th place, 1 lap down. Could not rebound from that internet issue. Frankenfield tried to rebound as much as he could from his problems, but couldn't quite do it in the closing laps. Andrew Rucker, 3rd of the championship, in 4th place on the night. Couldn't get the restarts together to launch an attack on the 37, but Birrell, after that initial issue, was perfect. We said you couldn't make mistakes, and Birrell didn't make none, but he made the least. And he's going to do the Polish victory lap in reverse around. Is that driving the track backwards, or is that driving in reverse? I can never remember.
I think it's driving backwards. I think Kurt Busch did it in reverse.
And here's a look at your race results, of course. Justin Krzyzewski down at 18th. Levi Zielinski ended up finishing 19th tonight. Those 2 drivers involved in drama after they collided. And they'll cycle around here in just a moment to show you your race winner, Birrell. Frankenfield, Noah Player finishing 3rd. Rucker in 4th. Freeman gets a top 5 after all that. Dallas Mahan in 6th. Chris Jordan in 7th. Rusty Capel in 8th. Scott Haney 9th. Ethan Riesener comes home 10th after the rough night he had. And there's the rest. We're going to talk to Ethan Birrell and a couple others here in just a moment. The 37 victorious at Gateway. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back live to SYM TV, here now with race and championship winner Ethan Birrell. Ethan, what a drive there. In the first couple laps, we thought your night might have been over, but a fantastic drive back and no mistakes after that initial contact. It looked perfect from there on out. Talk to us about this season and this race and getting yourself in victory lane and the championship trophy.
Yeah, thank you. It was an incredible season. For a while there, throughout the middle part of it, I thought I might have peaked too early. Early in the year, I was running really strong and mostly following Chad around the rest of the regular season. But coming into the chase, man, after Watkins Glen, I felt really good. I knew I had a good points buffer, and was able to get myself into this championship race. And I put in practice like crazy this week. I felt really confident. Usually, I'm just a long run guy, but I made sure I'd have those short runs down, and I'm glad because it obviously came down to a lot of those. And I was feeling it, and I was feeling some pressure, but we stuck through. And yeah, early on I didn't get a good qual lap, so I was kind of middle of the top 10, and I saw the 97 and 88 come together off of 4, and then coming off of 2, I was trying to get by both of them, but it looked like Adams just got loose. And, I didn't have any hard feelings, but it definitely was a scare. I bouncing off of him and sliding, but locked it up and kept it off the wall. And I know Chad had some problems, Riggs had some problems, and it was really fun having me and my teammate Andrew Rucker running up there up front. And man, I just was kind of playing restart and pit stop strategies, and was just really hanging on tight every time the caution flew. It was just devastating, but we hung in there, we stuck it out and got it done.
Talk to us a little bit about the challenges of Gateway, because we saw tonight the cars were very difficult to handle. How did you keep your car under control for that latter half of the race when everyone else seemed to be really struggling through turns 1 and 2?
Yeah, it's a tough track. It's, each set of corners is completely different from each other, and I felt really good through 3 and 4, just like a lot of the guys, but, it was kind of a loose and fast corner, but 1 and 2 is really hard, because you carry all that speed down the straightaway, and then just got to stomp on the brakes. So I feel like my advantage there through the latter part of the race was kind of just backing up my corners. Thankfully, I was getting good restarts to get a good distance, so I could do that. But I was kind of just backing it up, just kind of trail braking. I wasn't stomping the brakes too hard and just kind of letting it roll out of the corner. So I felt like those restarts were really giving me an advantage to save my stuff. Yeah, I think it was just all about backing up the entry for sure.
Well, from SYM TV here, everyone that works here, we want to give you a huge congratulations for your 2019 championship and the race victory here at Gateway Motorsports Park. A spectacular drive, and go ahead and celebrate.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you guys for coming on short notice. I'd like to thank JK Racing, everything they've done for me this season. It's just been amazing. Justin picked me up just after Atlanta, second race of the year, and man, we ran good all year. It's really fun. The best group of guys out there. These guys are really cool, and excited to race with them, but also compete against them next season. I think the family back home, they're always tuning in. They said they loved your guys' broadcast, so thank you guys again for putting that on. Thanks, Chad and Vic and everybody for putting this on. And Monster, DoorDash, Domino's on the car. So thank you guys very much, and I'm going to go celebrate.
Absolutely, Ethan. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Hopefully we'll see you around.
All right, thank you.
All right, I think next we're going to talk to the driver, the number 26 tonight. Oh, actually, we'll have Chad Frankenfield in the booth. Why not? How about we'll talk to the number 15. I forgot we're doing it in a specific order. I told Finney would do it that way, and he listened and I didn't. So, Chad, welcome to the booth. Of course, not the result you wanted tonight. Lots of issues here and there. It started off on a good note, but ended just shy of a championship and a victory. Walk us through your tumultuous night.
Yeah, it was interesting. The intensity was ramped up. I've never seen it like that before. I think before tonight we haven't had more than 4 cautions in a race, and I mean guys were just on the edge. The setup was tough, and everybody was just pushing so hard. I mean, I have a different opinion on what maybe Justin or whoever had with that incident. I felt like maybe he could have avoided turning left, but again, it's just everything's split-second decisions, so everything happened so fast, and maybe he felt that was his best option. And it is what it is. I've never had a problem with Justin beforehand. I never me and him have raced clean hundreds of times. So it's just one of those things you get one of these one race championship races. You put yourself at risk, obviously. And maybe I could have been more patient and, knowing that Levi was off pace a little bit there. But obviously we battled back. 2 tires obviously didn't work. I feel bad. I got into Rucker there, and I don't think I caused the yellow all season. Tonight I caused 2, so it was a rough night. I was really, really just pushing like hell after all that mess, and then then that late race yellow, I had fresh tires. Granted, I had about a minute and a half optional, but I had the fresher tires, and I think I was quicker than Birrell, obviously, with the fresh tires, and I had a fair shot at it. Everything that happened in that race, it came down to if I would have done my job, I would have won the championship. But it is what it is. Ethan did a great job. Great season for the 15 car. I think we had 6 wins in the 20 races, and everybody knows the rules going into these. You got to execute on championship night, and I just didn't. So, congratulations to the 37, and thank you guys for coming on board late notice. I really appreciate it. Thank you to JoinAPS for sponsoring the series. Thank you to Worldwide Technology Raceway for coming on board with us. They're really helping us out here, and Chris Blair actually tweeted the link out for the broadcast there for those last 10 laps. So, again, just a fun season. Congratulations to Ethan, and thanks to all our drivers, and looking forward to go cup racing this fall.
Chad Frankenfield, second in the race, second in the championship. Thanks, Chad. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
All right, I think next we're going to drag in, let's see, we have in here now, it's going to be the 26th driver, it's going to be Tyler Riggs. Tyler, I know things didn't exactly work out the way you wanted tonight. You got trapped a couple laps down after some issues, hardware related, but a valiant effort those first 50 or so laps. Just walk us through your night and how it kind of spiraled away from you with those troubles.
Yeah, the first half of that was just trying to stay obviously up there in that top 4 range, because I knew I had the speed, but you don't want to push too hard early and, ruin your chances, especially in a situation like this. So I was content to just, be up there with that pack. And then, so in the practice leading up to this, that hour before, there was a power surge in my apartment. I was like, okay, no biggie. Everything comes back on them in practice. Didn't think about it. I probably should have switched to my hotspot, because it will hold good enough internet connection to, keep things rolling. I'm on a laptop, so with the monitor attached, so it wouldn't affect me disconnecting from the race if we got another one if I was on the hotspot. And so when that second one happened, I was just like, oh no. And so I was just trying to be as quick as I could to switch everything over and not lose enough time. Honestly, it wouldn't have been too bad if it wasn't for, I think it was, the 86 was a couple laps down, so those first couple cautions, instead of me being able to get the lap back, he got it, and I had to either hopefully get a wave around. I think one of them there I didn't get it, so it is what it is, though. I mean, I got here off of a last ditch effort last week from winning an RRP, so to be in the Final Four itself is just was cool enough. Thought I had a good chance, but you can't control things, so it is what it is.
Looking back on the season, are you proud of the effort, or are you looking to just do better next season?
Oh, I'm very proud of the effort, simply because me and my buddy Joshua Personette, who wasn't here tonight, we hit up our team, PR Motorsports, and we just had humble goals of trying to come in and finish top 10 in the playoff points and just have a decent showing. So to get to this point itself, and not only that, but have Logan Shea, he's one of our drivers. He came in second half of the season, and he almost got here too in terms of the Final Four. So to have the performance we had as a team was far above what we were expecting. So great season. Definitely wouldn't trade it for anything other than maybe just hoping I didn't get that last power surge,
Absolutely. So it's going to be a 4th place of the points, but a strong effort early in the going gives way to a 12th place finish at the end of the race. Thanks, Tyler, and hopefully we'll see you around.
All right. Thank you, fellas.
We got one more driver waiting to be talked to, and it's not Andrew Rucker. We couldn't reach him, but it will be Kendall Noah Player, who finished 3rd tonight after kind of an interesting race around, Kendall. But just walk us through your night. Kind of a wild one out there. Managed to get yourself a podium. Talk to us about your night.
I want to thank PRM first and foremost, because they helped me out through the last half of the season. And I had a strong run the last half of the season leading up to tonight. And tonight, I just wanted to stay clean. And then I got turned, like a third of the way through the race, but I kept it off the inside wall. And then I made a mistake getting on pit road, and I passed the 8, and I got an EOL for that. But after that, I just stayed out of the way. I got out of the leader's way whenever they needed me out the way, or the championship guys out the way, because I didn't want to mess them up, because I've been in a championship battle before and been screwed out of it. So I know how it feels, and I didn't want to do that to one of them. So last restart, I was kind of hoping Ethan's tires would have been a little more shot, so I could have got out front and then just ran away and let them fought for it behind me. But congrats to Ethan on his win. I didn't want to get in Chad's way there either, so I just kind of pulled out, let him get in behind him and run him down, because this is not one of my best tracks.
We saw a lot of people have issues down in turns 1 and 2. What makes Gateway such a difficult track to drive with these cars?
It's difficult with this. It's difficult in the first place because 1 and 3 getting into them are completely different. I kind of played it conservative with the braking points and braked a little bit earlier than everybody else to stay clean. And then, especially when you're going to push the cars to the edge with a low brake bias and a loose setup, you can lose the rear end of the car. And then once you get back in the throttle, you're just going to lose it completely. So, yeah, it's some people, I guess, couldn't handle that this week, but I'm glad they couldn't, because I could, and it led to a podium.
All right, well, Ken Nola player, 3rd place tonight in the number 94 Chevrolet Camaro. Thanks for chatting with us, and hopefully we'll see you around.
You're welcome. Thank y'all.
All right, absolutely. All right, Finney, and that's going to wrap up the interviews and the race tonight. Kind of a wild one this evening to conclude the JoinAPS Elite season. But just talk to me a little bit about Gateway Motorsports Park and the challenges we've seen. This is definitely a formidable racetrack, but certainly a fun one to watch.
Yeah, absolutely a fun one. We've seen quite a few guys throughout different series struggling with the loose conditions, especially when these cars are so on edge and you're trying to get every single amount of grip and speed out of the car. You know, these guys, all it is just a little bit, and you go over. It's a fine line, and as soon as you go over the line, car steps out and around you go. And we've seen quite a few guys caught up at that. Also, a lot of aggressive racing, and from that, pretty much a lot of hurt feelings. So, but great race on, and again, great job to our champion.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for us for now, and I don't think we're lined up to do these guys the next season. I think we're all scheduled out, but we thank you for coming on board just for the one and the only season-ending race here tonight. If you enjoyed watching the SYM TV action, you don't have to wait too long. You have to wait about 25 minutes rather, for the 3-wide Race Kings Cup Series. They'll be at Iowa here in just a few minutes, so stick right here on the channel to see some more action in just a little while. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Have a great night.